There's a place in Glacier National Park that the Blackfoot people never named lightly. They called it Oskosi Imita, roughly translated, where the spirits fight. I spent 3 seasons at Glacier before they assigned me to 2 Medicine. I didn't know why no one wanted that post. My supervisor just said, do your patrol, stay on the marked trails, and be back at the station before dark. Before dark. Those 2 words, I didn't understand them yet. Not the way I do now. Welcome to Trailwatch Tales, where park rangers share the stories they were never supposed to tell. If you're watching this right now, tell me in the comments, have you ever been somewhere that felt wrong the moment you arrived? Because 2 Medicine has a feeling. Every ranger who's worked it knows it within the first hour. The animals go quiet, not all at once, one by one, like they're listening for something bigger than themselves. This is what happened the night I stayed past dark, and why I never went back. My name is Daniel Marsh. I worked for the National Park Service for 11 years, 8 of those at Glacier. I was a backcountry ranger, the kind that doesn't see many people. My job was trail maintenance, wildlife monitoring, and campsite welfare checks in the 2 Medicine District. It's the quieter corner of Glacier. No going to the Sun Road, no shuttle buses, just the Sinapa Mountain Trail, the Running Eagle Falls Path, and about 40 miles of backcountry that most tourists never touch. I liked that about it. Or I thought I did. My first patrol was a Tuesday in late August. Weather was clear, temperature around 52 degrees. I logged out of the station at 5 a.m., drove the access road to the 2 Medicine trailhead, and started walking north along the lakeshore. Everything was normal. Everything felt fine. The first thing I noticed was Campsite 7. It sits about 2 miles in, right where the trail bends away from the lake and enters the trees. It's a designated site, fire ring, bear box, wooden post marker. I was supposed to check it, lock occupancy or absence, and move on. But when I got there, the fire ring had ash in it. Fresh ash, still faintly warm when I held my hand above it. Whoever had been there left fast. Their bear box was hanging open. Inside, half a bag of trail mix, an unopened can of beans, a child's red rain jacket. Not packed, not stored, dropped. My radio crackled. I called it in. Dispatch said no permits had been issued for Site 7 that week. No registered campers. I stood there looking at that red jacket for a long time. It was small, maybe a 6-year-old size. SR protocol said I should document the site and continue patrol unless I had evidence of immediate danger. A warm fire ring and abandoned gear qualified as a welfare concern, a lower tier flag. I photographed everything, bagged the jacket as evidence, and kept moving. But something had shifted in me. The trail north of Site 7 narrows considerably. The trees get taller. The canopy closes in. You stop being able to see more than 30 feet in any direction. I've walked that stretch 100 times and never felt anything. That morning, I felt watched. Not the vague, imagination-fueled watch you feel in any dark forest. Something specific. Something patient. I kept my pace steady because rangers are trained not to run. Running triggers pursuit instinct in predators. But my heart was doing something my legs weren't. I passed the tree marked with survey tape at mile marker 3, and that's when I found the second thing. The survey tape tree at mile 3 had something on it that wasn't survey tape. Tied to the same branch below the orange tape was a strip of dark hide, animal hide, roughly 6 inches long, knotted twice. It hadn't been there on my last patrol 3 days prior. I cut it down and bagged it. Later, I'd learned from a Blackfoot cultural liaison that knotted hide strips placed on trail markers are a specific warning left by the people who still respect what lives in 2 Medicine. Not for outsiders, for whatever is out there. A message that says, we know you're here, "We haven't forgotten you. Please don't follow us back." The liaison went quiet for a long time after she told me that. Then she said, "Did you take the strip down?" I said yes. She said, "That was a very serious mistake, Mr. Marsh. Those strips aren't decorations. They're the only thing that tells it to stay on its side of the boundary." I want to be honest about what happened to my mind after that phone call with the liaison. I'm a rational person. 11 years in the NPS. I've tracked grizzlies. I've talked people off cliff edges. I am not someone who spooks easily. But a cultural expert, a woman with a doctorate in indigenous land practices, had just told me in plain language that I had removed a protective boundary marker from a place that indigenous people have actively avoided for at least 400 years. Not out of superstition, out of documentation, out of experience passed down across generations of people who lived beside whatever lives in Two Medicine. That's not folklore. That's field data. And I'd just destroyed the experiment's control variable. I went back to the trailhead the same afternoon. I requested a reassignment. My supervisor denied it, said I had no documented justification. I had 3 more patrol days before my rotation ended. 3 more days. I told myself I'd stay on the South Trail, stay in sight of the lake, stay out of the trees. I lasted 1 day. The second night, I heard it for the first time. I was in my tent at the Two Medicine campground, the main campground, not backcountry, the developed site. 11 other campsites occupied around me. Families, other rangers. I wasn't alone. It started at 11:47 p.m. I know the time because I checked my watch when I woke up. A sound. Low, rhythmic. Not an animal vocalization, not wind, not water. It had a pattern. 3 beats, pause. 2 beats, long pause, then again. Like something counting or something communicating. I lay completely still and listened for 22 minutes. It moved. Not fast. It wasn't running. It was walking the campground perimeter, methodically, one end to the other. By the time it reached the north end and stopped, I realized no one else in the campground had stirred. Every tent was silent. In a campground with 11 occupied sites, not one person woke up except me. The third night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my camp chair outside my tent with my radio, my flashlight, and my bear spray. I was done pretending this was routine. At 1:14 a.m., it came back. This time, it didn't walk the perimeter. It came through the campground. I heard it between the tents, something brushing canvas, something breathing. Not the short, tight breath of a bear. Long, slow, measured breaths, like it had all the time in the world. I turned on my flashlight and swept it across the campground. In the beam, at the far end, between Site 3 and the access road, I saw something. I want to be precise about what I saw because I've spent 2 years trying to accurately describe it. What I saw was a shape, dark, very tall. It was standing still in the flashlight beam, but it was facing away from me, completely still. And then it walked into the trees, unhurried, like I hadn't just lit it up. I radioed it in immediately. Dispatch asked me to describe it. I said, tall, very tall, dark, walking upright, moving into the north tree line off the campground. Dispatch asked if I could estimate the height. I said, taller than the Site 3 bear box post. That post is 8 feet. They asked if it was a bear. I said no. It was walking completely upright, fluid upright. Not a bear rearing up. Not a person either. The proportions were wrong. Arms too long, shoulders too wide, head too far forward on the neck. Dispatch went quiet for 19 seconds. I counted. Then they asked me, "Did you remove anything from the trail in the last 72 hours?" I felt the blood leave my face. I said, "Yes." They said, "Go back to your tent. Do not pursue. Do not use your flashlight again tonight. Do not make any sound. In the morning, you will be reassigned. Someone will replace you." I asked who. They said, "Someone who knows better than to remove the hide strips." I left 2 Medicine the next morning. My supervisor was waiting at the station. He didn't ask what I'd seen. He handed me my reassignment paperwork already signed and processed, like it had been prepared in advance. I asked him directly, "What is it? What lives out there?" He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "It's old. Older than the park. Older than the trails. The Blackfoot knew it was there before anyone drew a map of this place. It doesn't hunt. It doesn't attack. It watches. It counts. And when someone disturbs the boundary, the hide strips, the markers, it gets curious. It follows you. Not to the campground, not to the station. It follows you home, Mr. Marsh. That's why we have the strips." He put the paperwork in my hands and walked away. I drove out of 2 Medicine at 7:15 a.m. I've been checking the tree line outside my house ever since. Sometimes, late at night, I hear 3 beats, a pause, then 2.